Now, very specifically, before I came, God said, you're going to speak to somebody today who thinks it's over. And the limitation that they have placed is not on a genre of music. The limitation that they have placed is on themselves. In the story of Lazarus, they asked for the healer to come. They call him the teacher or the rabbi. That's how they knew him. And it says in verse 32, when Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. Where have you laid him? He asked. Come and see, Lord, they replied. And Jesus wept. Wait a minute, I thought you were God. You're supposed to be drying tears, not crying them. What if what you've heard about God is not all there is to him? What if the God that you've heard about is only a sliver? See, people will describe God in many ways. And they'll say that God is a healer, but then someone that you love will die. And to assume that he's not as powerful as you thought he was because he didn't do what you thought he would misses the entire basis of true faith. Our problem is, just like we do to Thomas, we do to God. We want to define people and even define God and even define ourselves by our worst moment. Now, the danger in this passage is that by seeing their expectation unmet, their faith could have been discontinued. And you've got two perspectives at the tomb of Lazarus this day. In verse 36, the Jews said, see how he loved him. But some of them said, now watch this, this is my message. Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? You see what they did? They labeled him according to their limited experience of what he could do. Because they heard he was a healer. So to them, that's all he is. And if he's a healer and he didn't heal, then it's over. If he's only the one who opens blind eyes and your brother died, then he didn't do what he could do and he can't do it now. But sometimes you've got to have enough faith in God. Listen to me by the Spirit of the Lord. Sometimes you've got to have enough faith to say, God, I thought you were a healer, but that's not all you are. God, I thought you were the one who would keep it from happening. But that's not all you are. Have you ever had God not stop something and he could have? Then you're just like Jesus. His Father could have stopped him from going to the cross. Even Jesus said, I could call a legion of angels and they would rescue me. And they thought he was a king. And when we worship Jesus and we say, you're a king, he is. He's also a carpenter. And the greatest revelation that Jesus ever gave anybody in the scripture of who he was after what he didn't do. So let me break this down real simple. I was talking to a YouTuber the other day. And there's nothing uncommon about YouTubers, but he's 59. And he was sharing with me how he had been a music producer, and then when that stopped and he was down to his last little bit of money in the bank account, I told you this story. I'm gonna tell them now. He kind of was at the point in his life where, by the time you're 54, he was 54 when he started his channel, you kind of have a pretty good idea of what you can and can't do. Right? One day his intern walks in. He told me the story. He said, one day his intern walks in and says, you should start a YouTube channel. And the beautiful thing about this guy, he's got the grayest gray hair, shocking white, like the transfiguration of Jesus Christ himself. And he said, there's nobody with hair like this on YouTube. I'm a producer. This is what I do. I'm a music teacher. This is what I do.